Welcome to the Blueprints Podcast. I'm Isabelle Brodigam, Director of Sales and Marketing at Custom Built Designer Modeling. And today I'm joined by Michael Flory, founder, CEO, and of course, last but not least, my dad. And today we are actually going to dive a little bit more into my story and history of how I got here today working at the company.
Well, this is going to be the best episode yet.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. Isabelle she is my oldest daughter, my oldest child, our firstborn, and she has played a huge role in our family, of the family that we have. We have a very beautiful family, tight-knit children.
Yeah.
They all love each other. They gather at her house regularly. And so you've played a big role for many years. And it's going to be really fun to kind of go down memory lane of how you got to where you are today.
I know. So the first thing as I was thinking through this is I go back to like 5, 6 years old. Some of my first early childhood memories were actually jumping in the truck with you and going out to in-home consultations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So
do you remember Mermian?
Yep, I do remember Mermian.
I remember her
But
house
here's my first one.
Okay.
My first one was when you were 2 years old.
Okay.
And we had a job up in St. John's, and I went inside, and Mom and you and Aiden were in the car. Aiden was 6 months old or something at that time.
Oh no, not this story.
Yeah. And
oh great.
left my clipboard in the back seat, and Isabelle took a liking. Remember, you took a liking to that clipboard, and you stuck your finger in the little clipboard hole at the top. And by the time I got out, Mom was trying to get your finger out, and it started swelling up, and we couldn't get your finger out.
I don't remember this, but I do remember you guys recounting this story to me multiple times. So
it's probably a trauma piece in your history. We had to take you to the ER. We actually, really crazy story, but the doc at the ER was Ryan Jones, who is a really really close family friends, Lily and Noah.
I actually didn't know that.
Yeah. Ryan Jones was your ER doc. And it was pretty perplexing because you'd think, well, you're going to get you there and they're just going to be able to cut it off really quick. Well, it wasn't the case. Like, they tried 2 or 3 different things, and I'm over here sweating bullets. I'm like thinking my daughter's going to lose her finger. And anyways,
I still have all 10 of them, so we're good.
You figured out, you persevered through, and you still got all your fingers. So that was probably really early on, one of the first memories I have of you working with us in the business and
creating a little chaos,
but getting yourself out of it. So.
Yeah, but I mean, what I remember, because I have no memory of that, is the in-home consultations, going out with you. I remember being able to draw up at a young age, maybe more like 7 or 8 years old. Like, you would sometimes have me sketch little things out. That was always fun. And then I remember there was, I think, 2 or 3 summers in a row where Aiden and I would go out and do door knocking.
Oh, yeah.
And you would send us out with these flyers, and we'd get dropped off at the beginning of a neighborhood, and we would go throughout and have to door knock.
Oh, yeah.
And some of my distinct memories were, if there was a dog, if I could hear a dog at the house, I would not go up to it. Aiden would have to go. And so him and I kind of made this deal where I would stand there and watch and, make sure he was okay and everything.
Yeah.
He would go knock on those doors and I would go to the other doors. But
yeah, I hope labor law is not listening to this podcast. I might be getting some fines for some of the things that we did to have you a part of the business. And that's one of the beautiful things about small business. And really one of the things that makes small business is the fact that the next generation gets to learn along the way and gets to do things that you wouldn't get to be able to do until you're maybe 18, 19, 20, or, a job where you actually door knock, or ever, and kind of go out and experience what that's like. What was it like for you that first time?
Oh man, I remember just being young and not having that experience. Aiden and I would get so worked about what, if they ask us this question, how do we answer it the best way possible? And we always got so wrapped up in how we answered questions. And I remember you always just telling us guys, just go show up. You don't have to know all the answers. You just have to give them the information and tell them, my dad owns the business and we're looking for this type of work and here's what we can do. And here's how long we've been in business. And so you gave us some of the talking points, but it was cool because I remember the first summer, the beginning of it, Aiden and I were really what's going on here? And then by the end of it, we figured out our rhythms and we knew how to answer questions and we got a few leads. That was always fun when somebody was actually, I do, I do have some work, and we could actually bring back a lead. That was the best feeling ever. You get this surge of energy to be let's go door knock 10 more houses because who knows who we can help out.
So going back and just thinking, just to kind of give people a timeline, started this company in 2006. And then in 2008, everything crashed. We were a
Mhm.
pretty specialized company at that point. We just focused mostly on decks and finished basements. And then the economy crashed, and then we needed to expand our marketing. And I think
Yeah.
that's probably where the door knocking came in at that point. And
I think it probably was around 2010, 2011 that
yeah,
we really did some
and
of
those were
that.
some tough years. I mean, the we kind of grew really quick from 2004. 2008, we had quite a bit of growth in there, and then the economy crashed,
Mhm.
and then it was like, hand to mouth. I mean, beans and rice. I mean, I actually went on a bean diet one time to try to
Okay, but that
simplify
was
my life.
not related to the
Well,
fact.
beans were cheap. Mom could make a lot of beans and they would last a long time.
That
So
was probably the worst out of all of the things that you've gone on in
yeah, we
food
won't. We'll,
groups.
we'll do a different episode for the bean diet, but
Don't do that,
that
please.
would be a really good one.
Yeah.
I think people enjoy that, and beans are full. They have all the things you need to survive on. So, but just kind of thinking about then from there, the progressions is we'd have the home show booth, and you started, come to the home show booth. At first, you guys were just running around and getting candy. I mean, you guys would come out, it was like Halloween, but then I think maybe at 10 or 11 years old, I could leave the booth and go take a break. Again,
You'd always be like,
'cause I'd
hey,
be
I'll be
working all
right.
weekend.
You'd be like, I'll be right back. And Aiden and I would look at each other and be like, oh boy, like who knows if this is going to be 15 minutes or 2 hours. Like we never knew what we were signing up for.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun too. Him and I would always wingman it.
Yeah. And there were always rewards for getting leads and,
Oh yeah, you did fun stuff.
some compensation package deal. So, so we fast forward and, tell us about, how your life drastically changed at 18 and tell us about your decisions. I think everybody would love to hear like, you're the director of sales and marketing, early in your career. And I think just sharing the story about how you got started at 18 years old.
Yeah. Well, one of the best decisions that I ever made is I didn't go to college.
Whoa.
And I look at that now. At the time, I didn't think it was the best decision. It was just the decision that I made. But
Go into that a little bit. Tell us like just the thought process, because there's a lot of kids, a lot of parents right now that are thinking about, should I send my kids to college? And there's reasons to send your kids to college. Just tell them about how you felt about not going to college and maybe what were some of the stigmas with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complex decision to make. And I would say, again, that was my decision and my path. And I would say everybody has to figure out their decision and their path, right? Because there are reasons to go to college.
Yeah.
But there are reasons not to go to college. And I sit here today because I chose not to go to college. And really for me, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have clear direction. I was looking at nursing, I was looking at interior design, and I was looking at marketing.
Yeah.
And nursing obviously is a field that you need college for, and you need to go get education. And so if I had chosen to go that route, I think, college would have been the best decision for me. But with marketing and interior design, especially with custom built, like both of those play into custom built. I will say at the time, which was 2019, 2020, custom built was in a different place than it is today when it comes to design and forward thinking.
Yeah.
And some of that is what I've been able to bring to the company and what I love. And so I didn't necessarily see both of those things being directly tied into custom built because we didn't have a marketing department at the time. We didn't have a design department at the time. And so I wanted to go into one of those three fields, but I didn't see the natural connection with custom built.
Right.
And so, 18 years old, I graduated high school. My husband, Luke, and I got engaged. We got married that year. I had an internship right before him and I got married. And so it was kind of like a wild year. So January 2020, him and I got married, moved down to Purdue University for him to finish college. And then COVID happened in March and everything went online. And he was studying mechanical engineering. And if you know anybody who's a mechanical engineer, like you don't do school online for that. Like you're in person and there's labs and all this stuff. Well, COVID changed everything and his school went online for a full year.
Wow.
So it opened up a door for us to
I got
be like
goosebumps hearing this today. I mean, I do. Just going up my spine right now, just thinking about COVID and you being married at 18 and, just what a beautiful time of life that was. And also
You gonna get emotional?
Just, those are, those are, those are some tough times
Yeah.
for us as a family. And thinking about, just how far we've come.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot there, a lot of decisions, a lot of challenges, a lot of opportunities in the midst of challenges. And I think that's one of the things, like if I could instill one of the things that you put inside of me as a kid was the fact that every challenge is on the other side of it is a greater opportunity for growth, for advancement, for caring for somebody else, for helping someone. Like just every challenge, there's a greater opportunity on the other side of it.
Yeah.
And I think that year was, and it's just the thing that gives me a little bit of goosebumps about it is that all of this stuff happened and everybody had a different experience with COVID and walking through it. But like, had this stuff not happened, I would not be here today. Like, I don't know what decision I would have made, but like everything happened and here I sit with you today and we get to work together, do life together. It's beautiful. It's messy.
Yeah. Yeah. And kind of the backstory on where we were at and what kind of led into you filling that role. One, as you were back in Lansing and you're like, I had some time and like we had a need for sales assistant. And so basically I brought her on as my assistant to kind of do whatever.
He's like, whatever I need you to do.
Now that sounds familiar. What in today's world is going on in your life? What have you done?
Oh, I brought my sister on. She's my executive assistant.
How old is she?
She's 18.
Yeah.
She's crushing it.
So kind of.
She's actually behind the scenes right now as the cameras are going.
Yeah.
Lily's there.
We'll have to have her on a podcast at some point.
Yeah.
People would love her.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of wild. So because Luke's school went online, we came back, we were in the Lansing area. I was like, I have some extra time. I don't like having extra time. I like to stay busy, always have. And so I was like, Dad, like, is there anything you need some help with that custom built? Like kind of, hey. And you were like, actually, yeah, we're getting ready to hire somebody to answer phones. So why don't you just come in and you can do some sales assistant stuff, which is basically whatever he needed, I would be doing. Running meetings, I would, random errands. And then it was answering phones too. And there was a lot of downtime with answering phones. And, when you were in meetings, I didn't necessarily need to be there. So I started to pick up HubSpot because that was a software you had invested in that we hadn't fully used. And I would say that was one of the biggest opportunities that I jumped into that allowed me to get into my full-time role and allowed me to be where I'm at today.
Yeah. So the kind of quick backstory on that is 2016, I met with our friends, the Blocks, who had built this company that recently just sold. Pretty amazing success story. And Jeremy is really good, like best friend of mine, and his brother Josh, and there's two other brothers, Jason and John, but Josh and Jeremy were kind of running the company, and the company had really grown and they were creating this content. And in my mind, it's like, I've always thought about how do we do something that I had a consultant one time, Sean McCadden, just how do we do things that nobody else is doing?
Yeah.
Like how do we stand out in them? That's marketing, right? Being different than everybody else. And so when I met with them
and being where everybody is at, you know?
Yeah. When I met with them, they're like, well, here's this book. Here's this guy, the sales lion. At that time, that was Marcus Sheridan's, his business at that point. And so I got the book, I read the last chapter, and then I threw it on my shelf, and then I went out and bought HubSpot. And then I went out and hired the first marketing company that said they knew how to use HubSpot and they could help us get blogs going and get videos going. Well, I didn't really read the whole book because it says in the book, you can't really do that. So anyways, long story short, 2020, you come work for the company, and I just sold you the software. And what did you do?
Yeah. I mean, I jumped right in. I took certifications. I figured out areas that we could use it better as a sales team. I showed you different reports. I was like, hey, if we get the team tracking all the meetings, then we can see this report and we can see how long, a client is typically in the design phase and all these cool metrics that I started to geek out about a little bit. And again, that was like my open door. So because, COVID happened and my husband and I were home in Lansing, I was able to jump into this part-time job, which then turned into a full-time position in the fall. Which was client service advisor. That was my second title at Custom Built. And just that role shifted as well. I was still doing a ton in HubSpot. And I would say it was more on the client side, though. I was working on our client experience. And then I would work with some of our sales advisors and do design. So that's like a natural, I guess, passion of mine,
Right.
an ability that I have. And so I loved helping pick out colors and cabinet lines and textures and all that stuff. And then I was like, we need to get these samples and this sample.
Her and I were out at the furniture store the other day, and I got to sit on the couch and take a nap, and she was deep into fabrics and deep into couches and, doing some shopping for the house.
It's true. You're just sitting there watching me and you're like, I am so glad that I don't have to do this. And I'm so glad that you love to do this. Yeah, I do love that stuff. So that was a unique time too, where I got to really jump into the design side. I learned chief architect. I think for me, like why I say not going to college was one of the best decisions is because of the way I handled work. Yeah. And it was, let me use this opportunity that I have to grow myself. Mm-hmm. So grow in my skills and my understanding and my communication, you name it, right? I took every opportunity that we had to learn how to grow myself.
Yeah. And I think that.
And I got paid while I was doing it.
Right.
I didn't have any debt.
Yeah.
I was getting paid and I was learning.
Wow. It truly is a pretty, amazing story. So we get through COVID somehow. During that time, design became a real focus because we couldn't build, but we could keep designing. We had a lot of jobs and we're a design build company. We had a lot of jobs in design. And so we started using Zoom and we started figuring out we can do this all online. There's people that left our office. Josh, our director of design and production, he had an office at the time, and we set up an office in his house, my house, and him and I haven't had offices in the building since. I mean, we work all the time, a lot, but we're not necessarily in the spaces anymore. So as we progress forward, so we started using HubSpot, and you really started innovating a lot of this stuff. And in your, you don't have a degree, you don't have any of this. I'm hiring these other marketing companies, and like in 2 months time, like you would already surpass what any of the marketing companies had done for me. Like well,
I don't know that to be true in 2 months time.
I can tell you it was true. And I spent we spent over $100,000 with these marketing companies over the course of a couple of years, trying to implement this idea of content. And listen, they gave me what I paid for. It just wasn't what the book talked about. And it wasn't what block imaging was doing. And I am not resentful at them. It was just it was a tough learning curve. I only read the last chapter. I probably should have read all the chapters, so.
Yeah. And I would say that's a big advocate too, to why you should bring somebody in-house rather than work with marketing agencies. I think that you can get so much more if you have somebody in-house doing work for you. Yeah. But it really depends on what stage your business is at and what your
marketing
needs are.
Agencies do play a niche role, and they did for us. They helped us get through that period before you came on board.
Right. And maybe it was, the HubSpot side they didn't fully get, but there's other pieces like mailers and graphics and things like that, which the agencies were able to help you with fully. So yeah, I don't know the 2 month time to be true, but I do know that within a matter of, a year really of me being full-time at the company, we were using HubSpot far more than we'd ever used it before. I was loving the role. We got opportunities to go speak then at conferences. We got engaged with, probably it was like a year and a half of me being in a full-time role where we engaged with Impact to do some marketing coaching. And that was a huge thing for me too. Big investment on the company side to invest in these coaches. But then I, as an early career person, got to go through these marketing coaching programs. It was marketing, and in that it was content and video specifically. And then there was sales coaching. And some of that stuff was just invaluable. There are things that I learned that I carry with me today and I will forever, like just principles and all of that.
Well, let's unpack some of that. I mean, just maybe hit the high level of some of so we started in 22 with Impact. Yeah. They'd say it's 12 to 18 months. We went to our first Impact conference, I think during that first 18 months.
We did.
We graduated in 18 months. I would say when we graduated, they had a big checklist. You had to, I wouldn't say we ticked all the boxes. I mean,
we didn't.
I remember you and I had kind of a little, butting heads.
He was like, Isabelle, it's time to graduate. And I was like, no, it's not time to graduate. And he was like, it's time to graduate. Yeah. And I was like, all right,
I wasn't going to write another check for another month.
And like, you got to figure this out now.
And I had found another coach through Impact.
That's true.
Remember? We spoke on that panel, and so you got to speak on it. So within 2 years, you're got a very early career, no degree, no marketing. You're now on stages talking to other people that, you know, are looking at this program, and now you've successfully implemented it in our company. We have a videographer, we have a content writer, and we're creating content every week.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot that we could unpack because basically, 2022 is when we started with them. We graduated within 18 months. I learned so much during that time. We hired somebody first to be a dual role. And actually you hired them. I don't take credit for the first hire on the marketing side, but you hired this person. They came in, we're doing, you know, both the video and the content, which is again, something that as we were going through this coaching program, they were like, you need to have one person that's devoted to each discipline.
Right. And when I hired him, we hadn't even fully hired Impact.
No.
So, and I had read the book, and it says right in the book, like in big bold letters, you can't have one person do both roles. But I'm an entrepreneur, and it's more efficient to have one person do the role.
Can't? You mean can?
Yeah,
there's no T at the end of that.
So we tried it, and you know, and it didn't work so well.
It didn't, but it was a great learning opportunity for me. Again, when something seems to fail or seems to go completely wrong or hurts, like there's opportunities on the flip side of it.
And we did learn a ton. And, you know, at the time, our content and video person learned a ton, and they're using it in their career now. Like, you know, but the reality of trying to have two people. So we got Impact going. You're going through the coaching. Tell the audience a little bit about some of the challenges that we had with how Impact wants to get sales and marketing working together, and how you overcame those obstacles.
Yeah, that's great. Because I mean, now I sit in a role where I'm director of sales and marketing, and that's a strategic decision that we've made. I mean, it used to be two separate departments. You were the director of sales. I've been the director of marketing for the last few years. But really, a healthy company that is growing, sales and marketing are going to work together. Yeah. I mean, it's the two things that are the tip of the spear for a company. Like marketing helps bring in leads, sales closes those leads, but sales brings in leads, you know, and marketing helps sales close those leads too. You know, again, when we first started, we had previously had a marketing agency, so our sales team wasn't used to creating content. So that was something new. It was like, hey guys, I want you to be interviewed for 15 minutes and tell me about how much composite deck costs in Lansing, Michigan, so that I can write an article on it, right? And then, hey guys,
how did that go over?
The article side was less of an issue. The video side, it was really when I was like, hey guys, I want you to sit behind the camera or in front of the camera, and I want you to tell me about, you know, the top, you know, 5 problems that happen when you're building a composite deck, or the top questions to ask a remodeling company before hiring them. And that's a little bit more challenging because everybody has a certain level of comfort with being in front of the camera, or more so people don't usually want to be in front of the camera.
Yeah. Well, tell us about your videographer hire that you hired.
Oh, Matthew. Well, Matthew's here too, because he's filming all of this. But I mean, one of the best hires, I've said this, I say it to multiple people, but probably one of the best hires I'll make in my career. Matthew came into our team, and he also was early career and started with us, and he's just crushed this role.
Wasn't he in Hollywood?
Hollywood? You like to say that. I don't know. We'll have to fact check that one.
Yeah. Or he was out in California, at least for a short stint.
Yeah, for a short stint.
Yeah. And had a passion.
Yeah.
Which will tie into some of the things I'd like to hit real quickly today as well, is just how this has evolved. So we started creating content.
Yeah, we created videos. Again, getting the sales team buy-in took months. I thought it was going to be a quick, hey, one meeting in. Oh my goodness. Like the first meeting when we were like, we're going to start creating videos. I mean, the amount of pushback that we got and like, what the heck are you having us do, guys? And like why? It was like, why do we need to do this? And there just really wasn't a lot of conviction. Part of it was the time that we were bringing this in. So this 2022, COVID happened, right? There was a down, there was like, you know, dip, but then all of a sudden everybody, you know, construction's back on and everybody's in their homes. So there was this huge increase, and across the board, like the whole industry saw it. Like there was so many people who wanted things. And so, I mean, people refer to that time as like shooting fish in a barrel. Like it was really easy to get leads. It was easier to close deals. And so 2022 is really kind of the start of maybe like a down curve. And so as we were bringing this in, it was like the team really hadn't experienced, oh, what is this like?
And all the salespeople we brought in right at the end of 19, one of them, and then the other 3 brought in 2020. Mm-hmm. So all 3 of them. And, you know, that had been a progression. I had a couple other sales salespeople prior to that, but prior to that, it was 100% me.
Yeah.
So when we brought them in, it wasn't in their job descriptions. And so like you would, now here you are as their marketing director. I'm the sales director and you're coming in early career.
Well, and I'm really young, I'm 20 at the time. Like I don't have experience closing deals and doing all this stuff. And what are you talking about, Isabelle? And now it's more work for me, more hours.
We had some serious attitude issues, I would say. I mean, to be honest, it wasn't easy.
No, it was, there were some tears involved there because it was intense. Like the level of conversations, the level of pushback, the level of like, I'm just flat out not going to do this, Isabelle. And it was like, well, I need you to do this for this to be successful. So,
yeah. And who was your coach at that time that at Impact that really kind of helped you with some of the leveling up conversations that you
Devin.
Yeah. Shout out to Devin.
Shout out to Devin today. Devin was, when I look back on all the coaches that I've had, Devin was one of the best coaches for me because he was my coach at, the earliest career I was and really just challenged me. Isabelle, like, if you want this, you can get it. You just have to figure out how to do it. And it's going to look different. And he also got me connected up with Danny, and she was a company going through the program at the same time, but we had crazy similarities. Like she worked in a family business too with both of her parents. She was like the oldest. And so there was just some wild connection. So I remember her, Devin, and I would be on calls and we started talking. It was like he was giving us both the same coaching and it was really cool.
So then you're going into meetings with people that have known you since you were a little.
Yeah, since I was a little tyke.
Little baby, basically, right?
Right.
And then you're having to have leveling up conversations with these people. I mean, what was that?
And I'm scared, I'm like, I'm in over my skis. I say that a lot. And I do feel like I put myself in those type of positions a lot, which is intentional and not intentional at the same time.
Scheduling difficult in our calendar, right?
Scheduling difficult. Yeah, that's true. I do a lot of that scheduling difficult. But yeah, I would be in these conversations where it was like, well, I mean, this is just what you have to do. Like there's, no is not an answer here. And it was, I would go home sometimes. Yeah. Luke listened to a lot of those conversations and processed that with
Luke's
him.
Such a great processor for you.
Yeah. And it was a challenging time. Like it really was. But again, through some of those challenges, I mean, both internally as a team, right, and getting the sales team to really level up, I had to have a lot of difficult conversations. And then also, I mean, hiring, freeing, as you like to say, not firing, but freeing. Like I had to do a bit of that too, to get our team up to where we are today and, still have to make harder decisions as a leader. I mean, that's something you're always going to have to do is like evaluate your team. Where are they at? Is this good for them? Is this good for the company? And
just tell them like, is it easier for you to like implement a new system? Is it easier to like get the current people to buy into a new system? Or is it easier to go out and hire a new person and teach them out of the gate? What is the SOPs and how do we do that?
That's such a good question. So much easier to bring somebody in with, hey, we've got this new system. You're going to be creating videos. You're going to be creating blog posts. Like this is just what the role is.
Yeah.
Than to change it on somebody who's been there for a while because nobody likes change.
Yeah.
And some people do. I think you like change.
Yeah.
I think you really like change. So people do, but in general, the disposition is that people don't like change. And so it can be a very strategic decision to say, all right, well, we're going to make this big pivot within our company on our systems or how we're doing marketing or sales. So I'm going to go out and get a different person to join the team, bring them in.
Yeah.
And then really what I learned is like, I don't have to focus on the people who are resisting the change as much. I want to focus on the people who want the change and then have them share the wins and highlight them and be like, because that's the reality of what happened, right? Is like you see wins from the changes that we made in marketing. Like I'm seeing leads come in from videos, from website pages, right? And we're tracking all of that. So let me highlight that and be like, this deal just closed. What's the story of the background?
Right.
How many website pages did they look at? Things like that.
Yeah.
Which again, just goes back to the principle you were talking about bringing people in rather than.
Yeah. So that's just a great story of how we've now gotten buy-in from our current salespeople. We have salespeople that are still a part of the team that were before that have we've integrated it now and they're for doing interviews and doing videos and they've seen the success of it. But if you go in there and just try to pound it in, it's just not going to go so well. And I think that's how I tried to do things a lot in my career. And
you can get stuff done that way.
You can, but
it just hurts your knuckles a little bit.
It hurts your knuckles, and it's there's easier ways to do things in life. And so so that's why we're here. Just kind of as we're starting to wrap this up here today. So we started creating all this content. We got Matthew. We got Joey on the team. We're writing content. We're doing this. The sales team's starting to integrate it. This is now 2023, or maybe almost 2024. And along comes Channel 6 that wants us to do this educational show. And they had reached out to me back in maybe 2016, 17, 18.
It was 2018 is what Susan told me.
Yeah. So just tell us now what happened with this. I said, they called me and I'm like, I have no time to talk about this. I said,
he's like, go talk to Isabelle.
So go talk to Isabelle. Let me delegate this one out. So then what happened, and just give us a high level of where we're at with that today and what we're doing, and maybe share some links and stuff about some of our episodes.
Yeah. So high level, one of the things with creating content that I've always thought is the most powerful is bringing the human interaction to our brand. So putting faces, behind the text, right? It's like, we're not just building this, but it's Aiden building it. It's Calvin out there. Like, let's show the people who are actually doing the work, and then who are going to come into your homes for in-home consultations and things like that. So let's humanize our brand more. Susan, from WLNS reached out to me and she's like, hey, what do you think about doing a home renovation show? I talked to your dad about it back in the day, yada, 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 which if anybody knows me, they know I call him Michael at work. So I was a little bit like, okay, it's Michael, but all right. So we talked to Michael. He was not on board at the time. I can start to see the vision for this would be kind of cool. Like maybe him and I, could be on this TV show.
Well, when we had just gotten back from Waco, Texas, right?
Yeah. So we went down to see Chip and Joanna Gaines. That's right.
We missed them by 10 minutes. Chip and Joanna. We still got
we'll have you guys on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll have you on the podcast or on the show at some point.
But yeah, Chip and Joanna Gaines, you took us on a girls trip down there. So it was all 5 of us and you.
Well, dad and girls.
Yeah, dad, daughter.
Okay.
Dad, daughter trip. It was, all 5 of us girls and then you, and we drove down. I think it was even overnight we drove in your Suburban down there.
You drove.
I did drive through the middle of the night. And I just got a vision for, this is so cool what they've done down here in Waco, Texas. And a lot of it is because of the media they put behind it and the story that they've shared. And you have a pretty incredible testimony of how you're here today. Like, many people in your shoes probably wouldn't be alive, and yet you're here today, and just, you're gonna make me cry again. It's pretty impactful. So, so Susan reached out to me and I was like, sure, let's see what this would look like. There's a period of 3 months where I was convincing you, and we were working on getting sponsors lined up to see if we could even make this work. And we did somehow, like in July. I mean, it would have been July of 2024, 2025. We started the TV show. It was in studio. We were shooting it podcast style.
Well, and they were shooting it. The TV station.
You're right. They were shooting it fully and creating the content. I would come with topics, but just something about it felt a little off. And I remember Matthew and I one day started talking, and I was like, so this TV show, like, what do you really think about it? Because I had just started to feel like uninspired. It'd only been
Mr. Hollywood.
Mr. Hollywood. He was like, Isabelle, we could do so much better. He's like, we could get out, like, I could get out there. I could shoot this. He's like, just trust me, this would be cool. Like, let's show a transformation. And so really with Matthew's help, like, we put this whole thing together of like, let's do this episode. He drafted it all up. He shot all the content. I remember we went out to like the Block's house and we shot part of their project. And then we did a completion party over at the Turners in Okemos and got to showcase their project. So we made a really cool episode out of it. And it was much more HGTV style. It was fun. Like, there's a scene of you and I in the truck talking, and just was really unique and cool. And so we did one of those episodes, and Matthew and I are both like, this is the future of what we're going to do. But the amount of time, effort, and energy it takes to produce one of those episodes is exorbitant. It's a lot of work.
And Michael's credit card.
And Michael's credit card. Yeah.
all the different cameras that we needed to buy, and it was like Christmas for Matthew. I mean, he still is. I think we just saw some more shipments of new stuff.
You don't have to worry about that. I got that one covered.
But I'm a construction company in
I
a
know.
small town. You know, what are we doing?
In Lansing,
What are we
Michigan, of
doing?
all places.
But the reality is the content and what we're producing and what we're giving to the community is something pretty fun, pretty special.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's always been your heart, right? Is impacting families. And we have such a unique culture on our team. We really do have a fun, engaged, hardworking team. And again, we have a fun team. Like we have fun together. We like laugh a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff that you say is just so out of pocket. That's the only way I can describe it.
Out of pocket.
Out of pocket.
What generation is that you're in?
I don't know.
Gen Z? Or?
I don't know what generation. Millennials, something like that. But so
I think I'm a millennial.
Well, I don't know. I relate more to the millennial generation, so I just stick myself in that group. But anyway, besides the point, age doesn't matter here. I think
we got is this a HR? We're gonna get into some HR violations. We need to get Jason and Allie on the show to clean things up.
With you, there's HR is a funny thing with you. But back to the point, like the TV show was really a way for us to bring some entertaining content behind what we do.
Yeah.
Like construction is cool. Construction is also a growing field right now because it's been a dying field for a while. And I think if you're looking for a place to work in, like look to the construction industry. There's some incredible opportunities right now. I mean, there's, the average tradesman is 55 at this point. So there's a lot of opportunity for young kids to come in and learn hands-on skills, become professionals and really like know a craft. So there's a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. And just a quick shout out to Wilson Art Talent Center.
Yeah.
I want to do a quick shout out to the RISA, which is the Eaton County. So these are for high school students. So if you're a parent with a high schooler, get your kids involved. Amazing tools that your kids can get. I mean, it used to be that every high school had wood shop and, all that in their schools. And then that's the part. And that's why it's become a dying industry, is because we took all that out of the schools because that wasn't as valuable as a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
Kick me on my soapbox now. Now I'm getting excited. And then we also have a diamond of an organization in Lansing Community College. So a shout out to Lansing Community College and the money and the investment of the West Campus and what they have to offer for students. So somebody graduates from high school. We had two, at least two that I know of, maybe three. One of them still with us. Calvin's been with us for a long time. Aiden took some classes there. Dylan, who was with us for a while, and now he started his own company, but all went through the LCC program. And so that's
the construction management program they have there.
Construction management. They also have construction building. So they have building. So if you want to just go in and just learn more about the building track, and so there is great opportunities to really get involved in this industry.
Yeah.
Maybe
so
not
let's sidetrack there. Back to the designer modeling show, just to wrap it up, because I think we're coming up on time here, is that it's a way for us to show the behind the scenes. And so we took it from just being shot in the studio as more podcast style to out in the field. And we now produce and edit all of those episodes in-house. Matthew does all of that. And they're really amazing pieces of art. Honestly, they're really cool. Yeah, and they're fun too.
Yeah. So we'll put some links down below so people can click on those and
link down below.
I've seen people do that on these things before. I don't watch a lot of YouTube, but check the link down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe.
Hit
right?
Subscribe.
We're supposed to do that now.
I
think that's what we're supposed to do. So, but Isabelle, I mean, we were at HubSpot. HubSpot's a billion. How many $1 billion company? So they have an annual thing called Impact Live. Is that what it's called? Impact Inbound. So the Impact is the Impact company, but Inbound. And you got asked to be, I mean, with some of what we're doing, you've been asked to be on podcasts. You got to speak at
Inbound on a panel.
With one of the guys that was like founder's son or something. I mean,
yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Some of the connections that have come from all of this have been wild.
So all of this you've done without going to college.
Yes.
Come on.
Let's go.
I mean, round of applause. Again, we love college. We love education. We love MSU. We love U of M, Western Michigan. We do love U of M. We actually have a U of M graduate on our team. We have many of our team has degrees.
Yeah.
And something else I'm really proud of is the diversity that we have on our team. when I first got in this industry and I would go to a home builders meeting, there wasn't a lot of women that were involved in it at all. And as I sat in our room the other day and I took a picture of four men on one side and four women on the other side, it just makes me super proud.
Which I don't know why it was like that. We got to get some.
That's what happens. They separate out, but it was our sales meeting. And so just really proud of what you've done, in just a short amount of time. And if you look back on it, you can't figure out how you got here, but tell us why don't you share with everybody, like, what are some next practical steps? If you're a high school student getting ready to enter either the workforce or enter college as your next step, and there could be a hybrid or whatever, but just, what are some things that they should consider and questions they should ask themselves before they jump into a 4-year degree?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, like, you don't have to go into college, especially if you don't know what you want to do. So if you don't know what you want to do, I would say go find a job in an area that interests you and pour yourself into that area.
Yeah.
Like, use every opportunity to grow. I would say small businesses, there's a lot of opportunities in small businesses, especially right now. There's, opportunities to start your own business too. So if you're really a forward thinker and you're motivated, like, I would say those are 2 great ways. Just jump in, get a job, especially the transition from, senior year to like that fall. Like, there's 3 months there of time that you can go figure out what the heck you want to do, and you can get a job and jump in and see if there's something that interests you. I will say, I've again been here 6 years. It's not always easy and it's not always fun. Yeah. And that's life, right? Like, life's not always easy and fun, but the real reward comes from when you push through and you grow and you don't give up and you keep trying. So yeah, I sit here today and there's a lot of things you could be like, wow, that's incredible. How does that happen? And there's a lot of behind the doors that you don't get to see. You don't get to see the hard nights, the hard days, and all of that in this conversation. So it's not all easy, but it is worth it. And so I would say, if you're figuring out your transition, jump into a job, like, give it your all and see where that takes you. There's a lot of opportunities out there.